clicker or something?
No, we don't, sorry. The one that Vincent has on his own. You want to use touchpad or something. Sorry about that.
Okay. How do I start it? It's a mute.
Yes.
والمقام والله أنا ما أعرف.
כן, השתדלתי לפחות שיסתכלו עליי.
How is your name pronounced so that I don't screw it up?
Yanic Bronheim.
Okay, oh, that's simple.
Okay. It's not so complicated.
Yeah.
My nickname is more why Bronny because it's only 8 characters.
Okay.
It's part of the last name.
No. Jo, si v klidu. Tomáš musel jít, ten byl úplně, vypadal jak že může. Něco na něj vlezlo. Vysoký. No, tady to, ale on tak byl dopoledne. A právě říkal od rána, že je mu blbě a pak to... To vypadá, že se živě, člověče.
Jako nemůžu tak včera. Prostě mám tady někde něco v hlavě.
Mozek? Ne? Ten ne.
A ten je prostě jako... trošku dává zabrat.
Jinak zatím myslím, že v pohodě. Trochu opadlo.
Virtualization is not interesting anymore. Interesting only in containers.
It's not about Docker, so
Yeah, there is no
put
Docker keyword there. So.
Right.
Something like Overt. This is not Docker.
It's not Docker.
It's good work.
You know what it means? These are all the people who know what it means, or what oVirt means, right?
Maybe.
But they're all the Docker people, they have no clue.
Yeah,
They want to know
that's true.
everything
That's why
about
I thought.
containers.
Yeah.
So this is like their audience.
I wonder, maybe people still want to use virtualization to utilize the environment.
I was just talking to one customer, a savings bank basically, and they are thinking about containers and talking about containers. And I was like, how many applications do you have? They said, like, internally, 500 applications. So how many of them would you move to containers? Like, yeah, maybe 20. so yes, virtualization
Still
classic
exists.
OS,
It
still
still allows
exists.
you to do a lot of interesting.
We should tell that to our product managers.
Yeah. Apparently no one told our product managers.
Na jednu stranu vám závidím tu party a na druhou stranu jsem rád, že tam nemusím.
Máš včera si přišel. No včera jsem byl?
Včera jsem byl? Včera to bylo super.
To bylo super.
Bylo to paráda.
Vládě to tam výborně.
Jo, to jo. Pak jsem tam zapomněl baťoch, takže jsem tam musel vracet. Bylo vtipný, jsme právě vyrazili s Kristofem, že mu ukáže cestu. A tyjo, tam ani nějak po 10. myslím, že to rozpustilo.
Jo, jsem vycházel v 10.
No, tak to bylo fakt chvilku potom už jakože... Ono tak víš to, jak zaplatil, tak... Potom už začalo odcházet.
No, 27 000 to stalo.
Já jsem viděl, no, jsem ukázal ten
Jsi vlastně ukázal.
Macek. No,
Já jsem podíval, Týrka tam zoufal si z těch dveří, rozbitých, co viděl.
ne, ty venku. To znamená nerozbil někdo, to si myslím, že rozbil vítr.
No vítr, no. Prostě to je průvanek, který chodí.
Ale víš co, jako já jsem taky otevřel a vytrhl mi to z ruky.
No,
Pohodička, no.
ještě tak potom.
Okay, good almost evening, and let me introduce Yanic Bronheim. He will not be talking about Docker. He will be talking about something cool also, and that's Overt and virtualization.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Good. So I'm Yanic Bronheim. I'm working at Red Hat for the last 2.5 years, which were more about virtualization before container came to the market and become so popular. So today I will show you oVirt. It's the main project that I worked on. oVirt is open virtualization alternative for management virtualization entities in your data center. We go through a screenshot of the project. It will be an general overview. I will mention where it came from, when it came from, how can you use it to utilize your environment with the virt and KVM features. We'll explain what it means. I will drill down a little bit about the architecture. I will show what technology do we use, how can you join the community, maybe contribute, and what we plan next. So, who of you know oVirt, or maybe use oVirt? Okay, good. So some of you don't know oVirt, and it's good to know that you have this option instead of using some other product for virtualization, because I think that most of us still use virtual machines. So oVirt is also known Red Hat Enterprise Virtualization, which is the downstream name for oVirt. We have some vendors that help us to and contribute to develop oVirt and help to add more feature for other architectures such as PowerPC with IBM, and we have more. oVirt ships with Fedora, so you all can yum install oVirt engine and can start to use it. It's very interactive. I will get to it later. oVirt, basically, it's a centralized management server that allows you to manage large-scale environment that contain entities that I will drill down about them later on. We're trying to give a big concern about performance and scalability. Of course, it's an alternative for other projects such as VMware, the vSphere, Hyper-V. So you have alternative for that also in the open source, and you'll see that. It's focused also on the use case and the deployment of the entities that you have in your system. oVirt contains many sub-projects that you maybe heard about, or you will see while you're installing oVirt, starting with the engine itself, which is the web interface for oVirt. Goes to the VDSM, which I will explain what is it. It's the package that you install on each of your hosts that runs the virtual machines. The host deploy, which does the process of installing each host. oVirt node, we'll explain about it. The SDK that we publish, CLI, agent inside the virtual machine. And we get deeper in some of them. You can ask me a question about other of them that I want mention later on, but we'll see how everything complex together and give you a nice view for all your entities in your data center. So first of all, the core of oVirt all started 9 years ago when the kernel model was invented, which is called KVM, the kernel virtualization model, which allows all the manipulation inside the kernel level with high availability, allows the live migration, the memory management, and the device manipulation that we can do through the virtual machine, through the process that runs the virtual machine. KVM is the basic process that we run for each virtual machine. It's very nice to have, but still, when you're talking about the environment that includes virtualization, we're talking about many entities that we need to control, the operation system the virtual machine will run, what storage it will be connected to, networking interface configuration, the templates that may be being used by the virtual machine. So using it manually by the command line can be quite complex. If you want to try that, this will start a nice virtual machine, but still it's much nicer if you have large scale of environment to use web UI interface. And as I say, it's an overview about the project, so you'll see a lot of screenshots and how the flow looks like when you're trying to utilize your environment. Overt has many features included in it, starting with the live snapshot, fencing abilities, supporting other architecture, as I said, integration with other OpenStack environments. We manage different storage protocol, live migration. We will go deeper on few of them, but still about each of those bubbles, we can speak full lecture. But as on the overview, I will show only part of them. So starting with the entities that Overt manage, as you can see, of course, you have the data center, which includes the hosts themselves that you want to manage remotely. You have the storage devices, the networks devices, the hosts themselves, when they utilize to run virtual machines, we call them hypervisors. I will explain what does it mean. The virtual cluster, which also I explain, and the guest virtual machine, we call it also a guest. Starting with the hypervisor, what makes a host an hypervisor is, first of all, it has an operation system. We support Fedora, RHEL, CentOS, and partial of Ubuntu. And then we install something called VDSM, the Virtual Desktop Server Manager, which allows us to manage the host in all aspects, starting with hardware management, the virtualization flow, the device models, the power management, memory, resources, and that's how we control everything remotely. Cluster of hypervisor is a group of hypervisors that share the same specification that allows you migration domain. You'll see that in a moment. They share the same storage array and the same network interfaces. A guest is a process that is it is the actual virtual machine. It's controlled part of the hypervisor hardware as you configure it. It's attached to one disk or more, and it allows you a visual interface to see what you run and play with it. So the simplest environment that you can use it, if you try to use Virt Manager, it's almost the same. You can use the web interface of Overt, have one host, and run the virtual machines. So you can control the virtual machines, but then if you turn off the host, you lost the state of the virtual machines. Instead of having that, you can define a cluster. Cluster is, as I say, is a group of hosts that share the same hardware, same specification on the hardware. They have the same network interface, and you can migrate between the hosts if you want to run the VM on different hosts. It can get much more complex if you want to manage more than one data center. It depends on your entities. And you can split it and arrange it, like if you have data center for one location or more than one data center to more locations, and you have many hosts, you can arrange it as you want. Live migration allows you to maintain your hardware easily. When you turn them off, you will get, if you put them on maintenance, you will get automatically migrate all the VMs to another host without interruption of the I/O, the services that runs. You won't even feel it. The user that connected to the virtual machine can keep doing the same that he did before. So this is the migration that I talked about. It's going in live. The migration allows you to have also additional features like declaring high availability for quality of service. If you have more important VMs that have more meaningful value for you, you can set them as higher priority, and then they will migrate faster than the other. It's very nice to have as a fallback for VMs that you need to migrate because of maintenance work or other issues. You can also schedule migration, do it at peak hours, or maybe close some of your hardware at night if you need. It saves money, and it's really easy to maintain. Power saver, also, as I said, saving money depends on the time that you want to do the migration. This is the main important things when you arrange your environment for virtualization. Okay, so I will try to show how Overt is being used, how you declare all, part of the flow, and how simple it is. We give a very good, very strong point on simplicity, stability, and functionality on the project. It starts with the installation. It's really easy to install, interactive installation, yum install Overt engine, and engine setup, which is interactive, easy to understand. If you get confused during the flow, you have a wiki page that well informed. The second part, after you install Overt engine, you can start to deploy your environment, adding host to it. The process that install the host called Overt host deploy, which connect to the host and install all the requirements that you need on the host without any intervention of you doing SSH or another intervention like connecting manually to, directly to the host. Basically, it installed the VDSM RPM and all it depended on and configure the networking and the environment, make the host an hypervisor, and basically ready to start virtual machine without worrying about anything else. We also provide SDK for all the operations that you can do by the UI that I will show you. You can do it by scripts. You don't need to do anything manually if you want to do it many times or configure a large environment. So you can write scripts for that. And the configuration in one place, very utilized and very comfortable. We have also the Overt node installation, which is a type of operation system based on RHEL that you can install as a standalone hypervisor, which already have all the requirements that you need. Very fast to install. You can spread it in all of your hosts, and they all will register automatically to your engine. You will see them like pop up in the UI. We plan also a new generation of the node. If you will start working with it, just know that we plan to change it a bit. But currently, it looks like that. It's really easy to use, easy to configure all the important things that you need before you're starting to run virtual machines on the host. For the stability, we have the stabilization period. We have dates that's very known to everybody. You can just join the user list and know when do we have the test days for checking our new features. We have involvement from other companies that help us, a lot of contribution. We have the CI with Jenkins jobs that also available upstream, so you can look at it. And that's how we keep the stability of the project. So drilling down to the functionality that you can do, which is the most important thing in my opinion, I will go through the screenshots and see how easy it is to start and using, same as other applications such as VMware, or even if you use the Virt Manager, It's almost the same, so feel free to try it out. The login, very easy. You have the don't see, but it has a user portal, administration portal. You log in, you get the interface that we saw before, the virtual machines that it runs, and more options that we go through. First, you declare the data center, which is the main virtual component. It's not a real component. It's virtualized just to allow you to differ between different environments that you want to declare. It's not as many options. And then you declare a cluster. As I say, a cluster, it's a virtual group of hosts that share the same specification, which means they need to share the same hardware, starting with the CPU type of the hardware. If it's a PowerPC or x86, you specify the model of your CPU, describe the name and the cluster level. The cluster level means what features are available inside the cluster. You must have the repositories that support that cluster on your host. So if your hosts are old or don't have updated OS version, you might want to, and you don't want to upgrade it, you might want to use specific cluster level. After, you have more options here, such as the fencing policy. Fencing is ability to restart, to shut down an host if you can't reach it, if you lose communication to it. You declare the console, basic configuration of the console, because each host you can declare it differently. We will drill down about it in a minute. And other optimization features that also includes here that I won't get to. Everything you do, you have the event log, easy to see. If you have something, you don't need really deep knowledge in Linux. You don't need to type anything by yourself. If you have any issue, it's mostly almost everything reported in the event log, but you can also get the log file and get inside if it's something specific. Even if it's a package that couldn't be downloaded because the YAM repository was not configured rightly on the host, you will see it here. So it's really aimed to management, to technician that doesn't really want to connect directly to the host. When you declare a host, you click on the host, you have new button, and then it's so simple, just putting the IP address and using SSH password, a root password that you give it, or a public key if you want to install the public key before on the host. It's a public key of the engine. And when you click OK, the Overt host deploy process starting to rock. And what it does, it communicates to the host by SSH. YAM install VDSM does, while you're installing VDSM, it also retrieves all the requirement from VDSM, configure everything you wanted, you did in this form, such as how do you control the power management of the host. It also can allow you to configure the networking by network providers such as Neutron. SPM is something that we will talk about, the removal of SPM tomorrow if you're interested. But it's something that going to get off. Currently, the storage pool manager, only one of the hosts controls on the storage that connected to your cluster. I will get to it, I think, later. If not, remind me. And then the console, of course, that how you can connect. Declare it twice. Except that you have an ability to use other providers, such as Foreman, if you use Foreman or Satellite to manage hardware. You can also click on that button if you use external provider in the left side. This is allows you to see all the information that you manage in Foreman and use those servers as an hypervisor. When you click and choose one of those hosts, does deploy, does it to them, and they join to your cluster. Discovery host I will talk about it tomorrow morning, about the integration between oVirt and Foreman more specifically. But basically, Foreman allows you to do bare metal provisioning, just connect the OS to the network, and it start up with default image, tiny image, that sends all the hardware information to Foreman. This retrieves the information and allows you to see the host and to provision it from scratch. Host group, it's something that's related to Foreman. I don't want to get into it, but if you're interested, I will talk about it tomorrow. Then you can start virtual machines. Easily, the form lets you declare everything with the template that you want to use, the description that you want to give it, the NICs that correlate to the virtual machine, the system configuration, such as how many memory the virtual machine will have, how many cores, time zone, the console, as I said, important thing to have, the VDI, which is using SPICE protocol. It allows very advanced usage with the virtual machine itself, allows you to see the screens with multiply monitors. The video works great, even support the USB, smart disk, smart cards, and it's very leading in the industry of having remote access to your virtual machines. When you plan to work with big environment that has more than 1,000 of VMs, it's really important to have search abilities to search by names, search by location. We have the quick search option, auto-completion, which also allowed by this search mechanism. Now, when you click on the host, you see the basic information about the host aside it, the network devices that correlates to that host. To configure them, it's also quite intuitive. You don't need any additional knowledge than just understand what you're trying to do. The interfaces are present here, and you need to define a logical network which will attach to the virtual machine itself. That's what you see in the virtual machine. So basically, it creates a bridge on the host without your intervention. You just pick what virtual network you want to correlate to the physical hardware, the physical NIC. You declare the variables here, like very easy way to declare the IP address or using the DHCP server if you have in your domain. To attach a storage disk, it's also with no intervention of you. If it's NFS, you put the path, and it will mount the path on all the servers that will use this storage as disks. So it's that easy. You just use it in one click. iSCSI domains also are allowed to be declared. You can refresh all the LUNs that you have if you configure it on your storage server. So you get it from here. You even can add more LUNs and extend your storage domain. Going to permissions, you also can declare roles, different roles, because when you manage a lot of VMs, you probably want that some of your users will get access to only part of them, or maybe part of the configuration that they can do from the management system. Defining a role, it's quite easy to choose what you want them to access to. And then you have the user portal, which is a partial part of accessibility to your hardware. For example, this is mine. I have 5 virtual machines that I can use. This is from Rev, so you see the Rev icon instead of the Overt. Start it, stop it, pause it, very intuitive. And if you're a more advanced user, you can, I can give you permission to part of the hardware on the servers, and it allows you to start VM by yourself or discard the VM, stop them, or use the resources as you want. this is the resources that are available to me. So you can see how many CPUs are available to you, how many memory you can use, and disk. Going deeper about the architecture of how we implement it, I will do it like abstractly. I will show the components and the languages that we use and how they interact with each other. First of all, the Overt engine, which is written in Java, is the web interface that you see and control all the manipulation in the data center. We use Postgres as our main database, and Active Directory, IPA, some that don't mention here, such as OpenLDAP for other authentication level. We have the REST API available for all the interfaces that we expose by the Overt engine. So as I said, we can use it by scripts. The admin portal written in GWT, also the user portal. We have the SDK and CLI in, both in Python written. The VDSM, which is the component on the host, or node, which is the same, uses libvirt written in Python. The local storage can be on the host itself, but it, as I showed before, it can use the shared storage, fiber channel, iSCSI, and NFS. The VM itself can be Windows, any type of Linux distribution. And above it, you have the guest agent, which I'll get to it. It's a process that runs inside the virtual machines and allow the host retrieve information about what runs inside it, like what application, what operation system, maybe the CPU usage inside it. And it's also important to see this information in the UI. I didn't show it, but it's there. The SPICE protocol, which allows you to the user interface, which also available for Windows and Linux. Inside the engine, it provides all the authentication, authorization, manipulation that you want to do, the login part. It controls all the inventory that you have in your system. For the host workflow, it controls the part that installing the host or reinstalling the host, monitoring about the memory usage, the maintenance that you want to see while you put the host on maintenance, the migration process, and the scheduling process for the migration are all handled by the engine itself. And the fencing, if something happened and the communication is lost, the engine sends the fence command to restore the host. The network configuration, as we saw, and the monitoring for the networking. If one path of the networking doesn't work, it also has a fallback to other networks using multipath. The storage configuration and monitoring also being done by the engine, which host is controlling to writing the metadata on the storage to synchronize between operations, such as creating snapshot or live storage migration if you want to add two disks to one of the VMs, and the life cycle of the virtual machines from start until you discard the virtual machine, the scheduling of the virtual machine, the creation, snapshotting templates, whatever you use with that, the load balancing, and the high availability of the virtual machine. Going to the VDSM part, inside VDSM, which runs over RHEL or REV-H, which is the hypervisor, also known as REV hypervisor. The VDSM itself does the registration is the easy part, call to engine that it joined to the network, and then you see in the engine that you have new host that wants to start VM. The VM configuration, which I will get about all this inside the boxes inside. The network, it configures everything by scripts also. Storage, the mount, whatever need to declare the LVMs for the storage, for the disks that you correlate to the virtual machines, and other configuration that you need to do. The VM uses libvirt to start, which runs QEMU process, which is the VM itself, and inside the VM we have the guest agent. Inside the VM, as you see, guest is the virtual machine. You have the virt.io drivers, which allows you to manipulate the network and the block devices. We have something called balloon that allows you to inflate or deflate the memory inside the virtual machines if it doesn't use it. USB driver, the spice driver for the VDI, and the guest agent allow you many manipulation, but one of them specified here, so the single sign-on, so I mentioned it as well. The REST API looks like that, very intuitive and easy to use. The Python SDK also quite easy. You have a class for the data center, for the API, and then you do API.vms, and you have the list of all your VMs. Very useful sometimes when you have script to distribute your all entities. The CLI also expose all the commands that you might want to use. We have also reports, which allows you to know information such what VMs run on your system, how many CPU they consume, how many memory they consume, and you can get by the reports a notification if you want. You can declare any notification that you want while everything is running. Hooks, which you saw before, allows you to define different operation for different events in your system, such as if you create new virtual machines and you want, before creating each virtual machines, to change some of the information for globally for all your system, you can add additional script to it by yourself, before VM start, after VM start, before VDSM starts. You can intervene in any parts of the flow, also quite easy. We have also the UI plugins that you can add into Engine. It's written in JavaScript. This, for example, Foreman plugin that allows you to see the output of Foreman inside the web interface. This is another example which allows to see the CPU usage of each of your hosts. You click on the host and you get more advanced information from a third-party product. Also, oVirt expose other features that I didn't mention, which important to mention, such as a hot plugin. You can add more CPU to your VM without need to shut it down. Memory while it runs, or more NICs. You can share disk between virtual machines. You have the integration currently with Foreman, Glance, and Neutron. Numa, it's also quality of service that we provide that allows you to pin specific CPU to your virtual machines, which sometimes accelerate your performance. Live storage migration. I talked about it. Upgrade manager, which we plan to do in next version, which also allows you to upgrade your host without the need to yum upgrade them by yourself. We will add more event operations to allow also the host report whatever they need to the engine, which might accelerate the operations of the product. And network broker, also another feature that we want to add. The goals basically is to provide a centralized management system with a great community around it, which allows you to manage all the virtualization stack in one manager, one UI interface, very friendly to use. We want to give you the ability to control all the utilized features that you can do by KVM and Virt. We provide releases in we have release scheduling that's very known that you can follow, and that's it. You can download it and start to use it, we have also a live CD that you can download the live CD and put it on USB, start to work with it. It will initialize also the Overt engine, and will allow you to run virtual machines on it on one machine. You don't really need all the entities to work with it. Fedora and Overt repository. Overt is specifically, it's reachable to see in the Overt wiki page, but on Fedora, you probably have everything that you need to start it. Just install it, or you can build from source. Everything exists in the Gerrit that we manage. I will encourage you to find bugs and help us and contribute to the project. We have a very active IRC channel that you can join. These are the links. We just published version 3.5, and we plan to publish 3.6. You can see the feature that's proposed in this link, and you can help us to test it if you want to try the product. And that's about what I wanted to say about Overt. If you have any questions, I would love to answer. Yes? We plan to integrate many of the OpenStack project, but about that, I'm not sure we're thinking in this direction. Why would you want to integrate these? We have the V2V support. If you want to migrate one of those VMs to Overt, we have an external application that you can use and run one V2V, something called V2V, which allows you to create the image that you can import to your Overt management. It's quite easy to use. So search for V2V if you want to try it. Okay, so just to close that, Overt is an alternative that allows you to manage the entities. It's very easy to use. I really encourage you to try that if you want to go back to virtualization, if you didn't start with containers yet. So that's it for me. Thank you.
Yeah, just a couple of seconds. I just need to put the schedule there, and then I will try to. Yes, we do.
Okay, good. Thanks.
Yeah, maybe. Just give me a second. I will prepare the environment and we will start. like to meet each other. Do you know where they serve food?
Yeah.
So there.
Okay.
Yeah, it's in here. I can switch this place so we can.
Yeah, my system is locking up the. Is it connected? Is there like a file I can give you? Instead of running it on my laptop, can I give you a file?
Oh yeah, actually. Yeah.
Do you have a USB key?
Should be somewhere here.
And what format do you want it in?
If you have PDF?
PDF?
Yeah.
Overt instances just taking over, like say configuration pool database or.
So it's this one.
Those agents which are on the host, if, like all the configuration is done on that and it stays there. So I can replace the, independently. Because if I lose, for example, a WIS instance in my environment, some kind of troubles which comes with that. I think this is like a better view. It's similar to vSphere for me, and there is something that MDM is better, more independent layer. And it's not yeah, that's right. It's not so tight into those stuff. Yeah, I'm running it on my computer right now. Virt Manager. Yeah, that's another story. Yeah, we are better.
Oh, this is. So you can add on the.
Just touch it.
Yeah. I have the university computer, so.
באמת לא. ככה זה לקח לי באמת,
So hi again, we will start lightning talks in 7 minutes. As we don't have much time, so we have 10 minutes per talk strictly, including the plugging the computers and that. So we will start